We finally have the Kia EV9 on our home turf right here at the Edmunds test track. And today we're gonna answer 3 very easy questions. Is this a good EV? Is it a good family SUV? And is the price going to be a problem? So the last time I was driving the Kia EV9 was just a few months ago when we had our first drive opportunity in Korea. By the way, if you wanted to check out that in-depth review, you can do so right here. Or maybe it's right here. I don't know, they never tell me these things. Today's agenda is a little different. This is a US market spec car, which is good because this is the one you all will actually be buying. Because we're here at the Edmunds test track, we have the opportunity to put it through our full EV range test in addition to performance testing. Now to get back to our first question, is this a good EV? Let's find out. On our test track, the EV9 GT line hit 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds. The 60 to 0 braking test happened in 119 feet, and the big SUV pulled 0.89 G around our skid pad. Now when we tested a Telluride, it ran to 60 in 7.7 seconds and did braking in 127 feet with 0.81 G around the skid. So the top trim EV9 blows the Telluride out of the water. In fact, the EV9 ties the Ioniq 5 limited sprint to 60, which is equally impressive considering its extra size. But more important is the Edmunds EV range test. The GT line is rated by the EPA at 270 miles, but our test team managed 306, showing the same trend we've seen with other Kia EVs. They outperform their estimates. All right, let me just prove a point real quick. That is way quicker than it needs to be. There's 60 miles per hour. I mean, you just saw that 0 to 60 time. That is exceptionally quick for a nearly 6,000-pound 3-row family SUV. I should say that there are different versions of the EV9 that do not have this much power, and we'll talk about that in a little bit and the difference you pay for it. If you want to shell out the money, you get the quick version of this car. 379 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. The last time I drove this was in Korea, and a quick crash course in what that means. In Korea, there are speed bumps about every 5 feet, and the speed limit is really low. So I did not get the chance at all to put my right foot into it. And what a joy this is. The US spec car has firmer suspension, but that's a really good thing. It feels planted, it feels well controlled, and even over speed bumps, it does a really nice job of sorting itself out. When you really start to push it, of course, it falls apart a little bit around our handling track. But for an SUV this big and what you need it to do, it's very, very good. Now let's talk on the road driving here. My favorite thing about it is just how smooth the EV9 is with all of its inputs. If you're coming from a gas-powered SUV, you're gonna be really pleasantly surprised. Everything is just smooth and delicate and just kind of tranquil and nice. The noise is fantastic. It's just quiet in here, even all the way up to highway speeds. The brake regeneration is fantastic. I love that they give you different levels. You can turn it off if you don't like it, or you can use one pedal driving, which means the car will come to a complete stop without you having to put your foot on the brake at all. It's nice that they give the driver that option. Overall, the EV9 just nails the basics and goes above and beyond to really feel, dare I say, as expensive as it actually is, which is a good thing because this car needed to do things like that in order to justify its not so small price tag. So now let's answer our second question. Is this a good 3-row family SUV? In order to prove whether or not that's true, I've arranged a little fire drill. I also really enjoy annoying my coworkers. I am now airport dad. I gotta load this thing full of people and things, and we are in a rush. Let's see what happens. By the way, when you don't need all 3 rows full of people, there actually is a really decent amount of space back here. But one annoyance, this car is over $70,000, no power folding 3rd row. You gotta do it the old-fashioned way with the straps. First things first, the big one, and we gotta go. That is not gonna fit. Carry-on size, that's good. Here's the problem. These seats are too far back. You cannot have your 3rd row be comfortable because we got time to make. Now we're in a much better spot, that's gonna fit. We got room for one more carry-on. This last one ain't gonna work. Okay, roll call, let's make it quick. 3rd row, how we doing?
Doing good.
Place to charge your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Air conditioning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Leg room?
Plenty.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool. 2nd row, how we doing?
Good.
Place to charge your phone?
Yes,
There.
sides of the seats here.
Air conditioning?
Yes.
Leg room?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
How we doing?
Check.
So here's the thing. Let's call this a mad dash to the airport full of my weirdly oversized children. You might be asking the question, is it possible that a 6,000 pound EV actually feels slower when you load it up with people? The answer is yes. You feel it quite a bit, and you have to get on the brakes a lot sooner. But the more important question is, does this work for people? Do you want to be in this car for a long period of time? Anybody have answers to that question?
Not if you're driving like that.
Did I mention I put my least favorite kids in the third row?
The second row is really nice. I'm 6'3" and I have a ton of room in here.
You know, this interior, and the Telluride sort of sets the standard for that class, and this thing feels even a step above that. It's just really fantastic. I'd have no problem spending a few hours here on a long road trip at all.
It's really good. I'm trying to find things that aren't good about it, but like I said earlier, it kind of feels expensive, and that's a good thing because it is expensive. So there's plenty of room, the seats are comfortable, and if you watched our first drive, you know that it has all the features and tech that you would expect for this price. Is this a good family SUV? I say yes. If anybody says no, now's your time. There you have it. Is it a good EV? Check. Is it a good family SUV? Also check. But now we gotta talk about money. And there's this big elephant that's still in the room, and its name is Telluride. In just about every way we can measure, the EV9 is better than the Telluride. But this car is about $20,000 more expensive than a fully loaded one of those. Yikes! Now Kia is selling cheaper versions of this car, but as always, there's a catch. Hey, here's that catch. The entry-level EV9 will cost about the same as a fully loaded Telluride. So you'll be able to get an EV9 for about 56 grand. Range in the base model is rated at 230 miles. That's not extraordinary, but that's not the real problem. The problem is that it comes with 215 horsepower, less than pretty much anything else at that price point. And considering how much we could feel the extra weight with 6 passengers in our test car that had 379 horsepower, we have some real questions about how the entry-level model will handle a full load of people. If you want the extra power, you need to step up to an all-wheel drive model. The cheapest all-wheel drive EV9 bumps the price up 9 grand from the entry-level model to about $65,000. That's a big jump. And that's just kind of where we're at now. If you take price out of the equation, we love almost everything about this SUV. If this was the same price as a fully loaded Telluride, I would be standing in front of a Kia dealership saying, buy this now, today, do it right now. But it's not. EVs are expensive, and because of that, a lot of them are starting to sell much slower than they did before. So the question is, are people willing to pay a premium for a family SUV that also is electric? Only time will tell. Are you one of the people who ordered one of these things? We would love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Why are you so calm?
I'm always calm.
What's the best part about being a passenger right now?
Riding with Clint.
Other than that?
Nothing's better than that.
That's what I thought.